Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think my colleagues have laid out a pretty comprehensive case as to why the Biden administration has the authority to fix this very border crisis that he created. And how did he create this border crisis? By rescinding President Trump's executive orders. Instead, I want to talk about today the deadly results of Biden's decision to open the border and his decision to not act within his power to reverse this deadly course. Right now, we are witnessing a historic and devastating wave of migrants taking the lives of one innocent American after another. This horrible reality is treated as a conspiracy theory on the left. That's not true. And since President Biden won't protect the victims of migrant crime or even be bothered to say their names, I will use my 5 minutes to speak for the victims of migrant crime. Look at the victims behind me. Their lives were taken from them because of Biden's decision to open our border so that violent criminals and gangs from other countries can terrorize and murder American citizens. These victims of migrant crime cannot speak for themselves, so I will speak for them. And I want to specifically speak on behalf of several victims from my home state of Texas. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to speak on behalf of all of them. Alex Wise Jr. was a 10-year-old boy from Midland. He was walking home from school when an illegal immigrant ran him over with his car and killed Alex. This illegal immigrant who took Alex's life had previously been deported not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4 times, 5 times. And guess what? Under President Biden, he came right back. Another victim is 16-year-old Lisbeth Medina, a high school cheerleader from Edna, Texas. When Lisbeth did not show up to the town's lighted Christmas parade, where she was scheduled to perform with the rest of her cheer squad, her worried mom rushed home and found her daughter stabbed to death. Who killed her? An illegal immigrant. And then there's a story of 11-year-old Maria Gonzalez. Maria was home alone while her father went to work. She told her dad that she was worried because someone was knocking on the door. When her father returned home from work, he found his daughter's body stuffed in a plastic trash bag beneath a bed. She had also been sexually assaulted. Her murderer, an illegal immigrant. Now, as a father of 2 little girls, if I ever saw my children in that state, I'm getting some real Samuel L. Jackson, A Time to Kill vibes right now, and everyone should feel the exact same way. If you don't, there's something wrong with you. Unfortunately, these stories are not isolated incidences. What I've shared with you today is one tragic murder after murder, weaving together a large tapestry of migrant crime. Mr. Holman, thank you for being here, sir. Under President Trump, you served as the acting director of ICE. In your professional opinion, sir, what is the best way to deal with this massive issue of migrant crime?
Get rid of sanctuary. You got to end sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities provide haven for sanctuaries for criminals. Bottom line, period. Sanctuary cities do not protect the immigrant communities. When they release the illegal alien criminal back into the community, the very community in which he lives, he's going to re-victimize the same victim, same witnesses. The immigrant community don't want criminals in their neighborhoods either.
Thank you, sir. Up until this point, President Biden and the White House have been unable to say Lincoln Riley's name to date, or the other victims that I have mentioned here today. But they have no problem with uttering no and comment when it comes to Lincoln Riley's murder. Let me lay this out for everyone. But for Biden's open border, Lincoln Riley would still be a Georgia college student. But for Biden's open border, Alex Wise would still be able to go to middle school. But for Biden's open border, Lisbeth Medina would still be cheering in Edna, Texas this fall. But for Biden's open border, Maria Gonzalez's father would have been able to walk her down the aisle someday instead of finding her stuffed in a trash bag under a bed. And finally, but for Biden's open border, all of the victims behind me would probably still be alive. Tell me I'm wrong. Don't believe what the media is telling you. President Biden's hands aren't tied. He has the power to close the border today like President Trump would do if you're in office right now. All he has to do is reinstate the policy set forth by President Trump a few years ago. Mr. President, we're waiting. Enough Americans have already died. And with that, I yield back, and thank you, Mr. Homer, for being here, sir. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hamilton, did Joe Biden cause this problem?
Yes.
He not only caused the problem, he told us he was going to cause the problem, didn't he?
He absolutely did.
In the Democrat debate in 2020, here's what then candidate Joe Biden said: migrants should, quote, immediately surge to the border. They took him up on his offer. So the idea that the Democrats say, oh, no, it was Trump who caused the problem, it's Republicans who caused the problem, it's climate change that caused the problem, is BS. Joe Biden caused it, and he told us he was going to do it. And what has that resulted in? 8 million migrants coming into the country in 3 years and 47 days. 8 million. And we're on pace to get to 12 million. That is the magnitude of the problem. Mr. Hamilton, has that magnitude of that volume of individuals coming to our country, has that put a strain on the United States, on communities and everything else?
Absolutely. Anyone can look and talk to mayors, talk to local communities, talk to governors, and see the results themselves for themselves.
Does it put a strain on schools?
Yes.
Remember in New York when they told parents, your kids can't come to school today because we have to put migrants in the schools. They're going to have to learn remotely.
Correct.
Did it put a strain on hospitals?
Yes.
How about law enforcement?
Yes.
All kinds of law enforcement concerns, not just the attacks on law enforcement, all kinds of other concerns, right?
Correct.
Concern on safety in communities around our country, not just on the border. Did it put a concern on safety? How about municipal budgets? Is there a concern there?
Yes.
Because of this problem that Joe Biden told us he was going to cause and actually caused? Have migrants died in this journey coming here because Joe Biden told them to surge to our border and come into our country?
Yes.
Kids,
yes.
Women, all kinds of terrible things happen to them?
Absolutely.
And then back to your opening statement. Have Americans died?
Yes.
Laken Riley, Kate Steinle, and others, right?
Correct.
That is the magnitude of this problem, and we're on pace. We're on pace to get to 12 million in the 4 years of Joe Biden being president. I tell people often that is equivalent to the entire population of our state. And we're a big state. We're the 7th largest state in this great country. 12 million people. So here's where I think we're at. We know the cause of the problem. We know the magnitude of the problem. What's the solution? Seems to me we call time out. Seems to me we say no more. Let's just stop. Let's not exacerbate the problem. Let's just say time out. And I've advocated for a simple sentence that I want you guys to comment on. I've advocated for a sentence in an appropriation bill that says no money can be used to process any more or release into the country any new migrants. What do you think about that, Mr. Hamilton?
I think that would be a wonderful idea.
And don't you think the American, I've never seen, in my time, I've been in politics a few years now. I don't know if I've ever seen an issue with this intensity. We got a time with record inflation. We take your family out to dinner in the Biden American economy. Right now, you take your family out to dinner. It's $300 just to take your family out for a nice meal in this Biden inflation world. But what's the number one issue in polling across the board? It's the border. That's how intense this issue is with the American people. And maybe we should just say time out. Let's stop now. What do you think, Mr. Holman? Should we do that?
I think we need to secure the border and save lives. And bottom line is, I understand one of the congresswomen met with separated families' parents. Did she meet with Laken Riley's parents? How many of them met with, we got angel moms and dads by the thousands who separated from their families, but they buried their children because of the open border.
I'm all for securing the border. We passed good legislation a year ago that would do that. What I'm saying is when the problem is this, when the magnitude of the problem is where it is now, you know, the old line, when you're in a hole, quit digging, right? Like let's quit making it worse by allowing more and more people to come into the country. Maybe we should say time out and then focus in on securing the border, of course, but just stop the influx that we see. And that's what I'm asking you. Do you think that makes sense now?
We have to stop the influx.
Yep. Mr. Arthur?
Mr. Chairman, it's clear that we have to stop the influx. This is unsustainable. In fact, President Obama did an interview, former President Obama did an interview on ABC, Good Morning America, back in September 2021. And he talked about the humanitarian concerns. We're humanitarian people, that we have instincts for that. But he noted the fact that open borders are unsustainable. Mr. Chairman, right now we're seeing the unsustainability of open borders. Cities and towns across the United States. I live in North Carolina. we don't really have a whole lot of illegal immigrant problems. But the people in North Carolina, when they're polled, say it's a huge issue. My neighbors, they tell me that it's a huge issue because they're feeling it everywhere.
Joe Biden caused the problem. He told us he was going to do it. The magnitude of the problem is so egregious. It's the #1 issue on the minds of the American people. And the solution to the problem could be with Congress. If we would just say, we're not going to fund the processing and releasing of any more migrants into the country. That's what we could do. Short of that, we're going to have to wait for an election. Hopefully have President Trump win so we can get back to
viết lên đây với tất cả chân thành của lòng tôi trao anh. Ngày nào đã quen nhau vì chung hướng đời mình chót trao nhau nụ cười, và tình yêu đó tôi đem ép trong tim, dù bụi thời gian có làm mờ đi kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Tôi cũng không bao giờ quên anh, cho đến hôm nay với nức nở nghẹn ngào mình mềm lòng xa nhau. Còn đâu những đêm anh dìu tôi lối về buồn kể nhau nghe chuyện đời. Tình mình này chết như lá úa thu rơi, đường trần mồ côi tôi lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Ngơ ngác trong đêm trường tôi chưa vơi niềm yêu thương. Nhớ lúc chia phôi cầm tay chưa nói hết bao nhiêu niềm thương của tuổi xuân vừa tròn. Xa nhau mấy người không buồn không nhớ, xót xa cho tình yêu. Nuối tiếc xa xôi ngày xưa anh nói vẫn yêu em nghìn năm, vẫn đợi em trọn đời. Nhưng nay hết rồi, hai người hai lối lúc đêm buồn không ai. Tôi gói yêu thương xin trao trả ân tình về người tôi yêu mến. Đừng thương tiếc chi anh, chuyện hai chúng mình là giấc mơ trong cuộc đời. Tình mình này chết như lá úa thu rơi, đường trần mồ côi tôi lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Tuy đã xa nhau rồi nhưng không bao giờ quên anh. Cho đến hôm nay với nức nở nghẹn ngào mình mềm lòng xa nhau. Còn đâu lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Ngơ ngác trong đêm trường tôi chứa vơi niềm yêu thương. Nhớ lúc chia phôi cầm tay chưa nói hết bao nhiêu niềm thương của tuổi xuân vừa tròn. Xa nhau mấy người không buồn không nhớ, xót xa cho tình yêu. Nuối tiếc xa xôi ngày xưa anh nói vẫn yêu em nghìn năm, vẫn đợi em trọn đời. Nhưng nay hết rồi, hai người hai lối, lúc đêm buồn không ai. Tôi gói yêu thương xin trao trả ân tình về người tôi yêu mến. Đừng thương tiếc chi anh, chuyện hai chúng mình là giấc mơ trong cuộc đời. Tình mình này chết như lá úa thu rơi, đường trần mồ côi tôi lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Tuy đã xa nhau rồi nhưng không bao giờ quên anh. Tình mình này chết như lá úa thu rơi, đường trần mồ côi tôi lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình.